Yay!
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 My favorite thing. Hey everybody, I'm really excited to bring you one of the two games that AEG is going around all of the cons sharing with everyone. I have not been to these cons, but I have gotten my hands on a copy of 10 and Whirling Witchcraft. You can find another video that I will make just for Whirling Witchcraft. Find that in my video section. I'll give you a little hint. It was pretty fun. But right now I'm going to tell you about 10. This is a press your luck and auction game that's really great for families and kind of lighter fare. It is a card game, and your goal in this game is to get the longest sequence of each of the 4 colors in this game. The longer sequence the better, because every card you have in sequence, not necessarily starting with 1, you can start with 2 and go all the way to 9, but if you get all 9 of them, you get 1 point per card, as any sequence gives you, no matter what your sequence is, but you get a bonus point. So that means that if you get 1 through 9, which is all of the numbers in a particular color, you got a bonus 1 point, and that's really going to tip players over the edge, as I found when I played 10. So your goal is to get as many points as possible in sequence of cards, and you count those at the end, and that's it. So you go through the deck, and the deck is stacked based on the amount of players. So if there are fewer players, you take some of the cards out that are labeled accordingly, so the stack is a little shorter and you can get through it much easier. And once you've gone through that stack, that's the end of the game. Now here's where the cool stuff happens. You have a tableau. So a player is the active player, and you're going to flip over cards, and there are 3 different types of cards you should keep your eyes peeled for. There are number cards, there are currency cards, and there are wild cards. Now I'll talk about wild cards last because that's where the auction in the game comes into play. But the number cards are pretty simple. They have a color and they have a number, 1 to 9. That's it. That's all you need to know about number cards. The currency cards have little Dippin' Dots pictured. They're like little discs. And those are actually going to match the discs in the game. There are black discs. Now, these are going to be part of the value that every player has to bid with during auctions. So those currency cards actually take away points from the tableau. Now that's good. Let me tell you why. Players will turn over cards 1 at a time. Now if you draw a wild card, that interrupts your turn and you will have an auction, but a player will turn over a card and that card will change the value of the tableau. The numbered cards are essentially positive numbers, and the currency cards that have little dots shown are negative value. So that actually helps pull your number value down, because you will bust if you exceed 10. So if your value of cards out there is a total of 10 or less, you're okay. But if you go past that 10, you're going to bust. The other way you bust is if you have more than 10 in currency on the table. Yes, the currency takes away from the overall value, but if you keep going and you press your luck, you can bust with currency, not just with numbers. So a player can stop at any point after they flip a card over and they haven't busted, and they take either the numbered cards or they take the currency. It's that easy, and it's really easy because normally you look at the cards out there and you're pretty sure you know what you want. Now here's the catch. If you take the numbered cards and place them into your own personal area to keep for the rest of the game, you do that, but any currency that's left on the table in the tableau goes to every single player in the game. That means that if there's a 4 value of a currency in the table on the tableau and you take the numbers, everybody gets 4 currency. That's 4 of those black discs. Players can only have 10 black discs at a time. They can never have more. But that's a really, really good not your turn action, right? If someone else is taking numbers and you're getting currency, great on you. That's kind of cool. So there's the rub. Now let's say you take the currency instead. Those number cards that you did not take go to the market. Now, if you don't bust and you take numbered cards on your turn, you can buy from the market. And buying from the market is just the number value, and you just pay that in either cards you discard from your personal area or currency tokens of value 1 or the bust tokens of value 3. and you just buy. So if you want a 5 value card, you have to discard 5 points. Now you have to be really careful because those are the auction points that you're actually bidding with during auctions. And I haven't talked about auctions yet, but they are very important, and those are incredibly valuable cards, those wild cards. Your turn will be interrupted if you turn a card over into the tableau, and it's a wild card. Wild cards can be a wild color, a wild number, or both. Now that's a really, really cool wild card. Now what happens is the dealer, the person whose active turn it is, will get to act last in that particular bidding phase. The auction goes around once. So it starts with the player to the left of the active player. They will bid any number of point value. They say 3. That means they're going to give to the general supply 3 points of value in either discarded cards, 1 card for 1 point, 3 points for one of your bust tokens, and 1 point for one of your currency tokens. And then it goes around, and if you go next, you have to bid higher or ditch. You have to essentially say pass. And you're out. There's only one time around the table, so that person, active player, gets the last say in whether they want to buy that card or let the highest bidder take it, and then the highest bidder pays, and that's it. Then you get back to your tableau. So that card doesn't factor into the tableau, and it's a really, really cool, valuable card. You can place your wild cards at the end of the entire game. You don't have to put them into a space that locks them in as like a particular color or number. You can keep them to the side and then start filling in your sequences to get the best value for your cards at the end of the game. What's my take on 10? Fun, easy, fast, exciting. I like Press Your Luck. I like Press Your Luck games a lot. And like I said, you know, you feel like you might fall behind. When I played the first time, I felt like I was really far behind. It'd been like 4 or 5 rounds, and my opponents had so many more cool cards than I did. I had so little, no numbers in a row. I was super low on those bidding chips, my currency chips, and so I was like, oh, rats, this is over, it's done. And I lost the game by 1 point. I lost the game by 1. I was really, really close. And had I had 1 more card in a sequence of 1 through 8, if I'd had my 9, I would have gotten 1 more point plus the bonus point, which would have obviously won me the game by 1 point. I was so close. Oh, I was so close. It scales very well from fewer players to more players. I think it's more dynamic with more players because the auction and the bidding goes around with more and more people, and the market cards really get snatched up by players. If you see something you really want and somebody else wants it too, and they're ahead of you, they might buy it from the market before you ever even get a chance to respond. So I think there's a lot of player interaction and kind of like vying for particular cards that are in the market and making really strategic choices when it's your turn and you're active and you flip over both currency and number cards trying to figure out, well, which should I take? Should I take the currency? Or should I take the numbered cards and give everybody else currency to bid with and to buy market cards with, and so forth? This is super fast too. You can play it quickly, and there are only 2 real components to the game. You've got your currency tokens and the same size tokens that are white for your bust tokens and the cards, and that's it. It's a nice compact game, and I think it's super replayable. And again, I just really like Press Your Luck. I sure hope you can nab a copy of 10, because I think it works incredibly well from 2 to 5, and there's a solitaire variant for 1 player, plus there is a busting variant in case you want to change up how the bust rules work. Really, really cool. So, grab a copy, play it with your friends, see what you think, and hopefully you press your luck to just the right degree to win a game of 10. Go! See you next time. My favorite thing.